The first time I met Karen. She was standing on my front porch holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. She didn't knock, she rapped on the door the way cops do when they're serving a warrant. I opened it to find her squinting at me through oversized sunglasses that reflected my confused expression. "Hi, I'm Karen, head of the HOA Compliance Committee," she announced, as if she were introducing herself to a courtroom. "We've had complaints." I blinked. I had only lived in the neighborhood for a week. "Complaints? About what?" Without hesitation she replied, "Your garage." "My garage?" She nodded, flipping dramatically through her laminated HOA binder. "Yes. The door is open too frequently. It's unsightly. Against Regulation 4C, subsection 2. I looked over her shoulder. The garage was open because I was still moving in. Boxes everywhere. Tools scattered. My dog's bed leaning against a stack of storage bins. "I'm still unpacking," I said. "That's no excuse," Karen snapped. "We run a tight community here. We have standards." I wanted to argue, but she was already snapping a photo of my garage with her phone, like she was documenting a crime scene. Then she strutted away, satisfied. Over the next few days, I learned what everyone else already knew. Karen ran the neighborhood like a tiny dictator. She wrote people up for lawn height, mailbox cleanliness, trash bin placement, and, my personal favorite, the aggressive color of someone's welcome mat. Still, I tried to be polite. I kept my garage closed when possible. I stayed out of her way. But Karen wasn't done with me. The second confrontation happened at 6:45 a.m. I was in my driveway adjusting the shelves inside my garage when she marched over again. "You can't use power tools before 7 a.m., she barked. "I'm not," I replied. "I'm using a screwdriver." She narrowed her eyes. "It sounds like a power tool. It's literally a screwdriver." "Don't get smart with me," she warned. I decided then that arguing with Karen was like arguing with a parking meter. Useless and a waste of time. But the real incident happened a week later, an event so strange that neighbors still talk about it at block parties. It happened on a Saturday morning when my garage was closed, locked, and, according to my security camera, completely still. Yet somehow, Karen broke into it. And she didn't just break in. She got stuck inside. 4 hours. And nobody knew she was in there. Except my dog. I learned what happened later from the security footage. But I'll describe it the way the camera saw it. Saturday morning. 9:12 a.m. Karen strutted down the sidewalk wearing her bright yellow vest, the one she had embroidered with HOA leadership. She walked with purpose, like she was on patrol. In her hands, a clipboard, of course, and a tape measure. What she intended to measure, nobody knows. She paused in front of my driveway and stared at my garage door, like it had personally offended her. Then, unbelievably, she bent down and tried to peek underneath it. Even the camera shook slightly when she hit her head on the bottom panel. Apparently unsatisfied, she walked to the side of the garage where the small exterior keypad was mounted. She poked at it repeatedly, as if sheer force would cause it to reveal my code. When that didn't work, she glanced around, then pulled a bobby pin from her hair. Yes. Karen tried to pick my garage keypad with a bobby pin. After 2 minutes of futile jabbing, she lifted the side hatch covering the manual emergency release cord, the one only homeowners are supposed to access. She tugged on it. To her surprise, the internal mechanism shifted, loosening the door just enough for her to slip her fingers underneath. And then, because Karen fully believed she had the right to inspect anything in the neighborhood, she lifted the door 2 feet, dropped to her stomach, and slid inside like she was entering a spy tunnel. The camera caught her feet disappearing into the darkness. Then the door gently settled back down behind her, the emergency release clicking back into place. She was now locked inside my garage. Fast forward 20 minutes. I was inside the house eating cereal, blissfully unaware that a middle-aged HOA officer was crawling around my garage, like a raccoon investigating storage containers. My dog, Muffin, knew though. She barked at the garage door nonstop, confused and offended that an intruder had dared enter her sacred territory of tools and half-open moving boxes. But here's the best part, Karen didn't come to inspect or snoop. She came because of a rumor. A ridiculous rumor she had started herself. She believed, fully and passionately, that I was illegally running a home business from my garage. According to her, she had seen suspicious equipment, which was just my camping gear. And she claimed strange noises had been heard late at night, which was only the sound of me dropping a wrench on concrete. So she broke in for an unauthorized compliance inspection. And then karma slammed the door behind her. Karen didn't realize she was trapped until minutes after crawling in. My garage had no interior door leading into the house. Only the main garage door, and once it closed behind her, the heavy spring mechanism required the opener system to lift it again. She tugged on the inside handle. Nothing. She pressed the wall button. The opener beeped 3 times, error code, locked from the keypad. She was stuck. The security footage showed her pacing in circles, muttering to herself while examining my storage shelves like they were contraband. She held up my leaf blower as if it were some kind of smuggled device. Then she photographed my recycling bins. My recycling bins. But as time stretched on, she started to panic. She knocked on the door. Then she knocked harder. Then she slapped the metal like she was demanding a refund from a vending machine. My dog Muffin, hearing all this from inside the house, barked back in full territorial fury. Each bark made Karen jump. She began shouting through the door. "Let me out. This is a violation. You can't lock an HOA officer inside your garage." The irony was magnificent. Meanwhile, I came downstairs because Muffin's barking was nonstop. I checked the front windows, nothing. I opened the back door, nothing. Finally, I walked toward the garage wondering if Muffin had cornered a possum or something. When I opened the interior entryway door that led down a small hallway toward the garage door, Muffin pranced ahead, barking triumphantly. I stopped. The garage door was rattling like someone inside was shaking it. Then, faintly, I heard, "Help! HOA emergency." My first thought, is someone pranking me? I pressed my ear to the metal. "Hello. Let me out." Karen shrieked. "This is illegal imprisonment." At that moment, I wasn't sure whether to laugh or call someone. "Karen, why are you in my garage? I'm conducting a compliance inspection." She yelled back. "Your equipment is suspicious." "My camping equipment." "Stop changing the subject. Release me immediately." I unlocked the keypad from the inside panel and hit the button. The door groaned open, revealing Karen standing there red-faced, sweaty, and holding her clipboard like a shield. She stormed past me into the driveway. "This will be reported. The HOA will hear about this." "You broke into my garage," I reminded her. "I entered lawfully for an investigation." "Karen," I said carefully, "you crawled under the door." She sputtered. "That's not the point." But it was. And the neighbors had heard everything. Karen's meltdown attracted an audience within minutes. People emerged from their homes holding coffee mugs, lawn tools, and in one case, binoculars. The entire street had heard the shouting. Mrs. Lopez across the street yelled, "Did she break into your garage too?" "Too?" I asked. Karen spun around. "This is all being recorded for the HOA." "Great," Mr. Patel chimed in. "Add it to the collection." It turned out Karen had a history of inspections. Unauthorized ones. She had entered backyards, peered through basement windows, and once crawled under someone's deck to look for unapproved garden modifications. Apparently, mine was simply her latest adventure. When the crowd grew larger, Karen lifted her clipboard like a holy relic. This neighborhood is descending into chaos. I am the only one enforcing order. That's funny, Mrs. Lopez muttered. Because you're the one trespassing. Mr. Patel nodded. Pretty sure that's a felony. It was not trespassing. Karen snapped. It was enforcement. Did the board authorize it? Someone asked. Karen froze. Silence spread. A neighbor named Joel, who happened to be the actual elected HOA president, a quiet man who rarely involved himself in drama, stepped forward. Karen, we've talked about this. You can't do unilateral inspections without board approval. She stiffened. I am the head of compliance. And compliance doesn't include breaking and entering, he replied gently. Nor crawling under garage doors. She locked me in. Karen cried. I raised a hand. I was inside eating cereal. You locked yourself in. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Karen's composure finally cracked. Fine. If none of you respect the rules, then maybe I should resign. For the first time since I moved in, I heard cheering. Genuine cheering. Joel folded his hands. Karen, perhaps it's best if you take a step back from HOA duties. The relief on everyone's faces was instant. Karen huffed, turned sharply, and marched down the sidewalk, still clutching her clipboard, though now more like a security blanket than a symbol of authority. When she was gone, neighbors clapped me on the back as if I'd accomplished something heroic. Mrs. Lopez laughed. Welcome to the neighborhood. You took down Karen in less than a month. That's a record. I grinned. I didn't do anything. You let karma do the work, Joel said. That's usually enough. Over the next few days, rumors swirled of Karen attending HOA rehabilitation seminars, though I'm fairly certain those don't exist. What I do know is she stopped patrolling, stopped knocking on doors, and, most importantly, stopped touching garage doors that didn't belong to her. And from then on, every time my garage door creaked open, I couldn't help but smile. Because somewhere in the neighborhood, Karen definitely flinched.